So the next concept is flip-flops with additional inputs. Okay. So this is heading flip-flops with additional inputs. So when it comes to additional inputs, we have two types. One is preset. Other one is clear. So what is preset and what is clear now? Have you heard about the word pre-order? What do you mean by pre-order? Or pre-booking? So something like that. Okay. You know what is set. Set means setting the output to 1. Right. That is what we call as set. So then what about preset? So in advance you are going to set this one to 1. That is a preset. Like a pre-order or pre-booking, something like that. Okay. Preset. I told you the preset. What is clear? So when S is equal to 1, R is equal to 0, you call it as a set state. Okay. Then when S is equal to 0, R is equal to 1. Sorry, when S is equal to 1, R is equal to 0, you call it as a set state. When S is equal to 0, R is equal to 1, you call it as a reset state. So reset means you are going to reset the complete circuit to 0. That is what resetting. Okay. Resetting and clear are one and the same. Clear means you clear everything, whatever the data present which in the memory, you clear everything, just flash it out and set to 0. That is what we call as clear. So preset means setting 1 in advance. That is what we call as preset. Clear means clear everything and set it to 0. Clear everything to 0. If everything is clear, that is obviously it's 0. Okay. So these are the two additional inputs for the flip-flops. Okay. So I have written a flip-flop. Which flip-flop is this? This is a D flip-flop. You know how the D flip-flop is going to work? D, Q, Q bar. Hope you remember this table. Okay. 0, 0, 0, 1. Okay. 1, 0, 1, 1. So this is a present state or previous state. Okay. This will be the next state. Okay. D input is 0. If I am going to pass 0 to this flip-flop, like 0 to this flip-flop, what would be the output? If I am passing 0 to the flip-flop, if the present state is 0, the next state will be 0 itself. So the thing is, whatever you are going to pass 0, if you are passing 0, the output will be 0. If you are passing 0, output will be 0. Even though the present state is 1 or present state is 0, no matter what, whatever the present state or previous state, whatever you are going to pass, that will be the next state with respect to D flip-flop. If you are passing 1, so it won't bother about what is the present state. If you are passing 1, the output will be 1. If you are passing 1, the output will be 1. That's it. If you are passing 0, the output will be 0. If you are passing 1, the output will be 1. This is how the D flip-flop is going to work. So this change of state will occur with respect to the what I can tell, with respect to the clock pulses, not just immediately, not with respect to data input. It works with respect to the clock pulses. Okay. Keeping this in mind, this is a D flip-flop I have written. I am just adding two inputs for this one, from this side and this side. Okay. So I am writing preset as pre-n. Okay. Preset can be written as pre-n. So similarly, clear can be written as CLRN, clear n. Okay. So these are the two additional inputs for this flip-flop. So other than these two, if you forget these two, if these two inputs are not in this flip-flop will be working as if you are written in the table. Okay. So these are the two additional input. Okay. The thing is, let me take this preset as a switch and clear as a switch. Okay. If you want to set this flip-flop, to 1, if you want to set this flip-flop to 1, means Q to 1. If you want the output Q, the next state should be 1. You need to switch on the preset. You need to press the preset button. Then what happens? It will least bother about this preset. This preset and clear are not going to work with respect to the clock pulses. Actually, so far what you have learned is, whatever you pass with respect to D, that will be the output only with respect to positive edge trigger. You know this clock, there is no bubble. Obviously, I call it as a positive edge trigger. So the change of state only occurs when the rising edge. This is a rising edge. This is a positive edge triggered. So if you want to change the Q, like outputs from Q to Q plus, Q to Q plus, even though you are passing D is equal to 0, if the output want to get 0, the present state is 1. If it wants to change from 1 to 0 means that will be changed only during the positive edge. After the clock pulse occur, then only it will change from 1 to 0 or 0 to 0. This is what we learned so far. Okay, that's a synchronous manner. We call it as a synchronous circuit, changing the output with respect to the clock input and data input. Okay, so that was working like that. But clear and preset, these two are not going to work with respect to the clock. These are separate. These two are not working with respect to the clock pulses. Okay, when either of these preset or clear, either one of them are active, then whatever the input you are going to pass with respect to D won't be taken into the Q. I mean, so ಈ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರೀಸೆಟ್ ಎರಡರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಎನೇಬಲ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ, if either one of them are enabled, whatever the data input you are going to pass with respect to D, it won't take into the consideration. Okay, like enable, it won't take it in consideration. When both preset and clear are disabled, when both are inactive, when both clear and preset are inactive, then only the data input which you are going to pass with respect to D is equal to 0, then Q will be 0, D is equal to 1, then Q will be 1. When will the input will be taken into the output? Only when both clear and preset are inactive. If either one of them are active, whatever the data you are going to pass with respect to D, that won't be taken into the Q. Okay, so right now let me take, if you want to enable preset, okay, if you want to make preset as active, if you want to set Q to 1, means preset means 1, it is going to set the flip-flop to 1, then you are supposed to enable preset. Then you are supposed to switch on the preset, then you are supposed to make this preset active. Okay, active is nothing but 1, right? 1 is active, you know this, 1 is active, 0 is inactive. Or you can also, when is enable, 0 is disable, you know these things, right? 1 is high, 0 is low. If you want to set preset to 1, you should make this preset active and clear inactive. Either one of them should be active, not both of them at a time. Okay, both can't be active at the same time. If both gets active, whether the flip-flop is going to set 1 or 0, clear is going to set 0 and preset is going to set 1. So which input will be taken into consideration? That will be under confusion. So either clear should be active or preset should be active, not both at the same time. Okay, if both are inactive, then D will be active. Then the flip-flop, whatever the input you are going to pass with respect to D input, that will be taken into the output. Only when both preset and clear are inactive. Okay, this is the thing. Okay, but 1 is active and 0 is inactive. This is normal terminology, right? Okay, then if I am going to put a bubble here, okay, so then if I add a bubble here, then this will be gets reverse. 1 is inactive or disable, 0 is active or enable. Because of the bubble, it gets reverse. Okay, so far without bubble, what we thought is whenever when you switch on the thing, you call it as enable and 1 is called as enable. Okay, but when you add a bubble, reverse the thing. So now 0 is enable with respect to clear or 0 with respect to preset, 1 is disable. Now onwards, you need to think whenever there is 1, it's inactive. Whenever it is 0, it is active. Okay, don't get confused. If there was no bubble, then you could have thought like 1 is active and 0 is inactive. Because of these two bubbles, you need to read it now like 1 is inactive, 0 is active. Okay, 1 is inactive or disabled, 0 is active or enabled, like this. Okay, so if you want to enable preset, what you are going to pass? You are supposed to pass 0 or 1. If you are passing 0, then this 0 will be converted to 1 by this bubble, then preset will be active. In case if you pass 1, this 1 will be converted to 0, then preset will be disabled. Getting 0 is enable, 1 is disable. Okay, the same thing here. if you want to clear the entire flip-flop to 0, then you are supposed to pass 0. If you pass 0, then will be 1. It is going to clear the 1 is nothing but active, right? It's clear is getting active, then the entire flip-flop is going to set to 0. If you're passing 1, then it will be 0, so the clear will be inactive, so no operation will be performed with respect to the flip-flop. This is how it is going to work. Okay, keeping this in mind, let me go with a table now. Okay, this X refers to don't case. Okay, so I just told 0 is active, okay, and 1 is inactive now because of the bubble. If you want to enable preset, you are supposed to pass 0 or 1. You are supposed to pass 0, because if you pass 0, that will be converted to 1 and it will be active. So if you want to make preset active, then you are supposed to pass 0, not 1. Okay, so as you are passing 0, and we call this 0 is active, I call it as an active low. We call this as an active low. Why it is called active low? 0 is low, right, and it is active, so I call it as an active low. If you are passing 1, that will be converted to 0 and it will be inactive. If you want to make this preset active, then you are supposed to pass 0, or if you want to make clear as active, then you are supposed to pass 0, not 1. Okay, so keeping this in mind, so let me for don't guess, these two are don't guess. Don't guess means forget about those inputs. So forget about the clock, forget about what is present, what is the input for D, forget this. What are the inputs here? Preset is 0 and clear is 0. 0 and 0 means active or inactive. 0 means active, 1 is inactive, right? So both are active now. So both clear is active, both preset is active. So then does the flip-flop should take preset into the consideration or clear into the consideration? No, it will be under confusion. So both preset and clear can't be active at a one time, so this is not allowed. So next, forget about clock and forget about D. So now preset is 0, clear is 1, which is active. 0 means active, 1 means inactive. So preset is active. So clear means inactive. This is 1, inactive. So preset is active means set it to 1. Look at here. Preset is 1, clear is 0, which is active. Clear is active. So when clear gets active, both whatever the data present in the flip-flop will be set to 0. Q plus means next state. This is Q plus. It is going to set Q0, Q1. This is what? Set writing here and writing here, both are one and the same. Okay. So look at here. Preset is 1 and clear is 1. Both are active or inactive? Both are inactive. Preset is inactive and clear is inactive. Both are inactive. When both are inactive, then it will take the data input into the consideration. What is present in the D input? So then that will be passed to Q, and the change of state with respect to Q will occur only during the positive edge trigger of the clock. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡೇಟಾ ಏನು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಕ್ಯೂ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಕ್ಯೂ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಕ್ಯೂ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಅದು ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಎಚ್ ಟ್ರಿಗರ್ಡ್ ರೈಸ್ ಆಗೋವರೆಗೂ. ಈ ಥರ 0 to 1 ರೈಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತ. ರೈಸ್ ಆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಕ್ಯೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಏನು ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವೈ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಎಚ್ ಟ್ರಿಗರ್, ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಬಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾಕ್. ಇಫ್ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಈ ಥರ ಏನಾದರೂ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ, ಲೈಕ್ ಈ ಥರ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ, ಬಬಲ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ, ದಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಎಚ್ ಟ್ರಿಗರ್. ದೆನ್ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಫಾಲಿಂಗ್ ಎಡ್ಜ್. This is positive edge triggered. Okay, so both are active. Then you need to consider D. What is D here? D is 0. So according to D flip-flop, whatever you are going to pass, that will be the output, right? So I am passing 0 here. This is a rising edge, positive edge triggered. So 0 will be passed here. So next, both are inactive because 1 and 1 both are inactive. 1 I am going to pass with respect to positive edge trigger. So this will be 1. So then both are inactive here. Okay. D is don't care. Why it is don't care? Because it's a negative edge triggered. So when there is a as this flip-flop works only with respect to the positive edge trigger, we are least bothered about the negative edge trigger. So during negative edge trigger, no matter what, whatever the data present with respect to D flip-flop, it never enters into the queue. It never changes. The operation is never performed, because during negative edge trigger, the complete flip-flop will be inactive. So look at this, the arrow mark is downward, means negative edge trigger. So whatever the data present with respect to D, that won't be passed to Q. So this is Q, it will remains in the previous state. Whatever the data present in the previous state, that will be the same thing. It retain its previous state. So I can tell it as no change. So this is how it is going to work. The same table they have given in the textbook. This is the table and this is the thing, and the whole explanation they have given.